All right. So Dantavius is your Twitch right here. Okay. So what's up?
All right, listen, I don't have any questions prepared, so I'm just gonna free ball this.
Okay, no problem.
All right, Mr. Gut or Papa? Are you
It doesn't really matter. You can call me whatever you want. Pop. This is a weird camera angle. Papa Gut or Papa or Mr. Gut or like, my name is also Dan, so you could do whatever you want. Honestly, it doesn't really matter.
dude? Hold on one sec. Let me fix something because I don't think they can hear you.
No.
Do properties.
Mr. Gut.
Oh, they can? They can hear? Okay. All right, dude. So I just got banned on TikTok again, and this kind of like set the wheels in motion of me getting pissed off. So
Like
I want to
a permanent ban or like a post ban.
a post ban
Okay.
for this is like my fourth time, I think. So I'm basically like one video takedown away from being permanently banned.
Yeah. TikTok's gotten very strict with their policies lately.
Dude,
It's crazy. You know, I think that I could probably understand why I got banned, but I'm seeing a lot of people get banned outside of me. It's getting crazy. You know, not Clay, is getting banned for shit. You have the Kid World of T-shirts getting banned.
Yeah, man.
Like a bunch of people.
Wiley got banned.
Yeah. Wiley, the hot dog kid. What's that kid's name?
I have no.
You know what I'm talking about? The fucking drippy boy.
Yeah. Dude, even like, all right, so here's what I've been noticing. Even whether you agree with them or not, these girls that basically just do thirst traps and just twerk on TikTok, like blah blah blah. A lot of them have also been getting banned because people will just, I mean, young men, they get pissed off when girls get unearned success from twerking and shit.
Yeah.
So they mass report their pages and then they get banned too. And I've noticed this with like multiple different girls as well, which like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I agree with taking the young girl. I mean, I don't like it personally. I think it would be nice for them to implement a system that allows you to not see it. But I will say more than anything else, there's very clearly a new trend, and this happened when I got banned. Was the day that they changed their community guidelines, where they're basically allowing people's mass reports to dictate what stays and goes on the app. And that's a fundamental flaw to me, because TikTok is Twitter for children, and you're basically allowing the morality of children and like them having a temper tantrum and not liking your content dictate whether that content should be on the app. And I think that like it's a slippery slope to let kids run the show, you know?
Well, the issue is like I can say things that are like perfectly within the community guidelines, and it's up to somebody else to dictate. Like first level, it's up to people who mass report it, and then it goes to actual just some fucking guy at a desk at TikTok in China or who knows where to decide like, okay, this video gets to stay up. So it's up to him to decide like, I don't like this, so I'm gonna let it be taken down, even if it's like perfectly within the guidelines.
Well, yeah, no, that's one of the things is that a lot of times, depending on how seriously it's like reported or how much it gets reported, they may just turn it away like out of your favor anyway. But there's also been times where I'll put a video up, it'll get reported, it'll get put back up after like almost a week now. They're so slow with their with their reports now. They used to be really quick. But they'll after a week, and then they may take it down again. And I think a bigger issue isn't even that your videos are getting removed. It's an issue that once they put them back up, you still get penalized. They don't remove the penalization. Is the biggest issue I think I have out of anything else, because once I got banned, it took a break for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I started to come back and trying to figure out like how I wanted to come back, and so I made an account where I decided to come back where I'm going to just basically do short form commentary on my YouTube videos. So it's a plug for my YouTube, and then TikTokers that don't want to look at my YouTube will be able to watch it, whatever. I put up like 5 videos. I had one video that was taken down immediately for whatever reason. It was just robot pulled down. I put in a ticket for it. It got put back up like 4 days later. But they pulled that one down. Then I put up 5 more videos. None of them got a community guidelines violation, but I got a ban for it. Then one of them got pulled down. I got a week ban for it. Then that one got undone as well, and I hadn't posted at all. And then my ban was over, and then the next day they banned me for another week for nothing. So like, It's really weird how they're doing it. It doesn't really make any sense, and I don't think that they care at all anymore.
They don't. Let me tell you what happened to me just today. So I had a video got taken down a few days ago about like top 5 white rappers, and it was clearly a joke because I put a fucking like the cartoon Eminem guy instead of
Okay.
Eminem. It was clearly just joking,
Hmm.
but I don't know, like people got pissed off that I was talking about white rappers or something and reported it, so it got taken down. They reinstated it, so I'm like, oh, okay, the video must be good then. So I reposted it. Now I got a 7-day ban because I reposted the video that they said was fun.
Okay. So are you saying that like it got pulled down and you deleted it, but then
No, no,
once?
no. I appealed it and they reinstated the video.
Okay. But
You
you
know?
said so you reposted it for it to go back up again?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they pulled that one down, right?
They pulled it down and I got a 7-day ban.
Yeah, no, they're
And
insane now.
they didn't even retract the video that they reinstated. They kept
Mhm.
that as a strike against me.
Yeah.
It's fucking
That's just how it works now. Um I don't know exactly what it is. I think that TikTok now has a lot of big creators and they just don't care about like smaller comer up or creators anymore, which is really fucked up because this app grew on non-celebrities becoming like celebrities, not real celebrities, but you understand. And like
yeah.
homegrown TikTok people, and now they're getting completely washed aside for really mainstream people, and the app's personality is dying.
Yeah.
And I think that that's going to have a long-term negative impact on TikTok. Absolutely.
Well, because I mean, like people like you and me, and even Wiley Squires and people like that, like they're what people want to see. Nobody gives a shit about Bryce Hall, or
No, right, but that's what's get people like that are getting pushed for sure.
yeah,
And like I said before, I understand why I got banned because I'm like a controversial figure and I've had like my ups and I've had my downs on this app. So I was actually, when I got banned, for me, it might have been a positive. I was able to like refocus on what I wanted to do. So I don't even really look at my ban. I think it was unjustifiable, but I also understand it. But like a lot of like your guys' bans make no sense to me at all. Like you guys are non-controversial, like
I mean,
humorous
I wouldn't
figures.
say I'm non-controversial completely,
Mhm.
So, but it's up to what people perceive it as.
Yeah, no, for sure. Which is weird. It's just bizarre because I think. Do you remember the guy? He used the same audio a lot, and he would just show up a zoom up of his butt, and he would wear an orange suit, and then he would do
Yeah.
like the. I was talking to him the other day, and he's like, "I keep getting videos pulled down because I fake punched somebody,"
What the fuck?
and I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like that doesn't even make sense."
Well, I think they're targeting no matter like if the people are controversial or not. Do you know Blockchain Boy?
No, I don't. I could probably
He's
look him up.
Yeah, he's like this kid who talks about like crypto, right? He talks about
Okay.
investing.
Oh, he's a cryptocurrency person. Okay.
Yeah. So he's saying that this guy's about to like quit TikTok. He just got a 7-day ban too, and he said like him
Really?
and multiple other crypto creators are also getting their videos taken down. For what reason, dude? So I'm thinking like it's a fucking Chinese company. Like I don't know what type of agenda they
Uh,
have.
I mean, it's one of those things where I don't know if there was going to be like an agenda from a Chinese company. Is probably to collect your data. Not that U.S. companies don't do that already, but it just seems more like they're interested in what a lot of times companies engage in, and that's getting popularity, creating an app or creating a product people like, and then just like harvesting the money out of it. So it seems like they've hit a point where they've become successful, so they've cut as much as possible so that they can just let it go on maintenance mode and collect as much money as possible, because you're seeing it seems like they've cut their staff, so you barely get a response. It takes like 4 or 5 days. They don't email you back on any of the emails that you get, and then they let people basically become the police of the app so that they can do as little amount of work as possible so they can collect as much money as possible. And part of that might stem from the fact that they gave too much money out in the inception of their creator fund, and now they're trying to reel it back, because they used to give out, when I was like at the height of the app, for me, I was getting like $50 per million views, and they cut that down to maybe $25 or $30 per million views. So they're clearly all over the place, and they're figuring out, maybe they're just trying to figure out how to save money. I don't really, I don't really know. I don't know, but they're clearly just hard. Like they're just brain deading the app at this point.
There's two things. Like I think since I'm gonna keep bringing up the China thing because they're less accountable and they have like less regulations. For example, like I had to leave the creative fund because like as soon as I joined,
Mm-hmm.
my views just tanked. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's maybe like 2 weeks. I got like $2,000 in 1 month from the
Mm-hmm.
creative, and then my views just tanked, bro. So I had to leave just so I could, not fall into irrelevancy, I guess. And another thing is, I've noticed, I don't know if this is just in my head. Remember, like when the Israel Palestine thing was happening, and like every other video was about that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I never see videos about the fucking concentration camps in China or anything like that. Even when that
Eh,
was the thing
yeah,
that
like
was,
the concentration camps for Muslims in China, right?
yeah, the
You know,
Uyghurs.
it's possibly it's possible that China's censoring it, but it's also possible, like honestly, that people don't care.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it's a lot of people talk about Israel Palestine. Some of them do it just to virtue signal. Some of them do it because they're interested. And like Israel and Palestine, they're much more closely connected to the United States than I guess China would be. Meanwhile, China, nobody gives a shit, honestly, because
yeah,
even our own president's barely talking about it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So people just it's one of those things where either there's lack of interest, and possibly because you can't really tokenize that issue and get clout, and nobody really gives a fuck.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying because like that was, it was the issue of the week at the time, right? The Israel Palestine thing.
Mm-hmm.
But even when the Uyghur thing was the issue of the week, when everybody was talking about it on Reddit and things like that, I still didn't really see people saying anything about it on TikTok.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it's possible that again, it's possible they censored it, but like also, I don't know. TikTok's also full of kids too,
yeah,
and the adults that do commentary on TikTok do commentary based off of the way kids will interact with it, and kids just don't understand or really care about the problems in China. That's where I would go more. It is possible that it's China censoring it. It's possible it's a mixture between the two. I mean, China's censored things before. Like TikTok in and of itself was censoring disabled people from being able to reach the For You page for a while. I think that their narrative was that they didn't want them to get made fun of, which is possible. But then there's also the narrative of we don't want anybody that's perceived as gross to be on our app. So there's a whole bunch of problems there. It's just hard to figure out exactly what it is.
yeah. There was even a like I don't know the truth behind this, but they said there was a beauty algorithm, right? Like they had some kind of thing to tell how
Detect how
attractive.
attractive you were. I
Yeah,
heard
and then
about that. Yeah.
push the people, which is makes sense why I don't have that many followers.
Yeah,
But
right. It's possible. It's possible that they'd run a beauty algorithm. I think it's more possible, or I think it's more likely that people just like more attractive people, so they hit. Because like Addison Rae, a video on my new account that I have, Addison Rae came up, and I watched her dance for 4 seconds, and I don't understand. I genuinely don't get why anybody watches her content. Maybe it's like, I don't know. I guess I have to think about how I was when I was like 14 and like horny all the time. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe kids get like super excited to see like an attractive woman.
their parents blocked all the porn on their computer.
Yeah, right. And so now they're just like, I gotta go on TikTok and I gotta look at these girls twerk and like, oh, this makes me tingle. That's the only thing I can think of. Because I just don't really get it. And then there's probably girls who are looking at Addison Rae and they're like, she's moderately attractive and she's talentless. And they go, I can do that. I can do that. Because you probably could do that. Honestly.
Real quick, I want to specify something. When I was talking about young girls twerking before, I did not mean underage. All right,
Well,
I meant young as in 20, 21, not
there I will say that there is obviously to me there's an issue of TikTok or on TikTok of like young girls getting groomed into doing OnlyFans. It is disgusting. You have a lot of creators there. There's this creator I keep seeing. I forget his name. I could probably take a look at it, but he keeps making these videos about the last one I looked at. Somebody sent it to me. It was about how like when men comment on like, oh, you're too young to wear that, maybe they're just a pedophile, when the reality is just like some young girls shouldn't wear some clothing. It's too sexualized.
I agree, bro.
Yeah.
Wait, is it the 5'4" Indian guy with the nose ring?
Maybe let me see if I can find my videos.
Just makes extremely cringe
So,
like male feminist
yes,
content.
yep, turtleneck chemo.
That motherfucker should get banned, bro, instead of us.
But that's the thing is that like he kind of panders to the people who cancel people. Honestly, a lot of them seem to be young. I'm not even going to say girls. I'm going to say like young, more progressive leaning people who are very angsty, and I'm not saying that there's no like conservative or edgy leaning people that don't do this, because there are, but that like they're more edgy and they have like more of the they have more of a power or confidence in mass reporting, it seems like, because they're listened to more.
So you think he kind of like weaponizes these people against, like, does he react to people? Does he talk about like
I don't
specific
I don't know if he
creators?
reacts. I think that he makes people feel affirmed. So I think that, and this is I did commentary on that video. But I think that it's one of those situations where you have an attractive to these young girls older man who is saying things that they want to hear. And when you talk about clothing specifically, I think a lot of women and young women feel frustrated because they're overly sexualized in more normal clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they see that message in his video, whereas a lot of other people, like me and you, we assign the value of like there's clothing children shouldn't wear because it sexualizes you and puts you at risk of danger from disgusting men mostly. And I
Right.
feel like he's just weaponizing the message to like pander to them and not tell them something they don't want to hear. He just wants to say what they want to hear, and then they like him more. He gives me a little bit of Joe Rogan vibes, where he like utilizes feminism to get young girls to like him or young people to like him.
Who's Jerome? Is that the dude who was texting underage girls? Was
No,
it?
Joe Rogan is the guy. He hasn't posted in like a month or so. He just got canceled off the app. It turned out like he was pretty big around like last summer. He was like sending his dick to young men, young
No.
boys, and then he works for a church,
Oh,
and like he was like grooming underage boys into sleeping with him, and they're very credible allegations, like really disgusting shit.
dude, what is the phenomenon behind this? Like, these people, are they just trying to cover their tracks? You think?
I don't know. What do you mean?
It's like, so he's only spewing this stuff about, basically being against the exact things he's doing. Like, is it just to cover his tracks so people say like,
Oh, I know
no,
what you
Joe Rogan
mean.
would never do that. He's look at him, he's a good guy.
No,
He talks.
I know what you mean. Like I don't know. It seems like I don't really know exactly what. I guess it depends on the person, but what it seems like to me is that you have people who like say what young people want to hear, and then like they get into those spaces, they get clout with those young people, and they're closer to them, and then they could use that closeness to talk to them in like a really inappropriate manner. That's what it feels like is happening with a lot of
Yeah.
these people.
Yeah, man, with that turtleneck Indian guy, I would not be surprised. Like every time I see one of his videos pop up on my FYP, I'm like, in 3 to 6 months, it's this guy's gonna come out with text messages that he's texting like 14-year-old girls and shit.
It's possible, and it may not even necessarily be intentional. He might just have really dumb ideas and say stuff, and then young girls probably message him and go like, "Oh, I love your content," and then that's the problem. Like people have messaged me, they've DM'd me, like young people too, and I just don't look at it. Like
Yeah.
you don't. That's so it's a really weird parasocial type relationship, and like a lot of times I just won't respond unless it's somebody sending me content to do on like stream, and I'll say,
Mhm.
"Oh, thank you," because you get really in a really weird spot, and you have to be responsible about it. And and then because you're getting attention from young people, you're like, "Oh, well, this person's like, oh, they're cute," like, "Oh, I don't care about their age," and then all of a sudden you get this really disgusting mentality, and that's what I feel like probably happens. But I wouldn't doubt that something goes on like in a couple months from now.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. It just feels so like manufactured to me. Like an AI is fucking creating these messages. Like I almost feel like he's not a real person. Like it's too meme
It's
worthy,
just
if
too
that
dumb.
makes sense.
Yeah, right. Like it's weird because it's meme worthy everywhere else, but on TikTok somehow on TikTok that's like a message to be held. Where it's like, oh, you're a young girl, it's okay if you wear, because that's one of the things. If you ask some very simple questions, this is how you counter the logic. Everybody likes to talk about these things in a very theoretical, abstract way. But if you
Mhm.
ask somebody like, hey, do you think it's appropriate to put laundry on your 3-year-old daughter? They're gonna say no. And right there, you prove that there's some clothing that's not appropriate for some people of a different age. And then even if it's appropriate for some people, it's not appropriate to be shown. So like, yeah, a 30-year-old woman should be able to wear lingerie, but not on TikTok. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we don't have that kind. And it's, well, why? It's just a body, and it's like, yeah, it is. That's just the way the world works. Like, there's people like that's the kind of shit you shouldn't see. It's inappropriate. You don't need to be seeing somebody half
Where do you
naked.
draw the line? Like I'm not gonna put my dick on TikTok and say it's just my body. I'm not ashamed
Yeah.
of my body.
Well, that's
I'm
what
not
it seems like.
my micro penis.
That's what it seems like, because you have some young trans men that still have their female
Mhm.
breasts that put their stuff up on TikTok. And to me,
What?
yeah, and they don't get pulled down. And to me, my thing is like, listen, I understand you're a trans man, but you have female breasts. So like, to me, you still have the sexualization because you're expressing, those breasts are expressing femininity to society. So they should be pulled down. And then the response will either be like, oh, you're transphobic, or some people are like, well, why are breasts sexualized? And it's like, I don't fucking know, but they are. You can fight that battle, just not on TikTok. And it's like, but where do you draw the line? So if female breasts aren't sexualized, like, what about the vagina or the penis? Like, where do we draw the line? And all of a sudden, do we get to a point where it starts becoming socially acceptable to being like completely naked on like these platforms? It's weird. It's weird. Nobody has like a fleshed out mentality or fleshed out perspective, though. They just like to be reactionary based on the way that they feel. And so like, there's no conversation. It's just a bunch of dumb people shouting at each other.
Well, because a lot of it is like people don't understand is it's not about how you want the culture, the zeitgeist to be. It's about how it is right now.
Yeah. And you have to mix those two perspectives because like maybe you want to change something, but you need to have like a reasonable, detailed, progressive plan to get there. Not like, oh, I want this, so it should be this way. It's like, I want this, so how do we get there? But nobody thinks about it in that. And that's a lot of it. People don't want to compromise either.
Well, because like, okay, if titties, if I may use that word, titties, were not sexualized, then it wouldn't matter. But in our culture, they are.
Yeah, and I think in all cultures they are, which is one of those other things, because then you get into these theoretical conversations where it's like, well, why is that way? And it's like, I don't know, but apparently there's a biological factor as to why men find boobs sexy. I don't really know what it is.
Biological and cultural, but like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like you said, like, I don't know why it's like that, but it is. So fucking deal with it, deal with reality.
Yeah, and then move forward properly. But we don't really do that. We just kind of that's a lot of people, a lot of young people, especially more left leaning, are very like, they're theory crafters where they have like a particular theory about the way the world should work, and it sounds really good, but it doesn't take into account the way that the world does work. And so it doesn't really make sense when you apply very basic common sense. But because those theories get destroyed by really commonsensical like perspectives, to those people, it's like, well, your commonsensical perspective isn't complicated enough, so I feel like it just isn't valid. But like, a lot of times, you craft like these massive theories based on a really shitty foundation, and then you could ask one basic question that destroys it, and they're like, well, no, I don't care about that. You know what I mean? They've built their entire building of rhetoric off of a really weak foundation, and then they meme you when you make a reasonable point.
Right, dude. All they need is one article from 1972 that was discredited, to like make an entire opinion about, form an entire like massively held opinion, Yeah,
well, that's another thing with the internet is now everybody, like a bunch of wrong people, can get together and be wrong together on the internet. And like, normally you'd have one person out of a community of 10,000 saying something really stupid. But now, you have a million communities merged together, and you got that one fucking idiot from the community talking to another person on the internet. So it creates these very like large online toxic spaces of people who have a dumb perspective on the world. And they're very loud. So it seems like it's a really loud perspective.
Well, I'm wondering if going back to TikTok, if that's one of the reasons why they're getting so strict with these guidelines, because you know how Facebook and Twitter was getting a bunch of shit for basically being an echo chamber for, like bad ideas, racist stuff, blah, blah, blah. Do you think like part of the reason for these new rules is to like limit that?
It's an interesting question, because TikTok has been getting a lot of reports of being a place of like pedophilia since its inception, and I personally haven't seen any effort to reduce that. So I think that they're cracking down to be more advertiser friendly based on what people are saying is wrong. It doesn't matter whether it's the right or wrong thing. It matters on how loud are people saying is it right or wrong. And I think that they're just trying to, money is number one. So from a money perspective, it just seems like they're trying to pander to their advertisers to make as much money as possible. That's the direction that I would say.
Yeah, man, it just doesn't make sense to me, because so they're trying to restrict, let's say certain ideas, but then at the same time, like you said, they're not really doing anything to curb the really bad shit like pedophilia, or even dudes just like that fucking Sienna May girl, bro. She's like, what is she, 16?
Yeah,
and she's
I think
Netflix show.
Is she having a Netflix show? Yeah, that's a 17-year-old girl. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. That's a
Body positivity girl.
yeah, she's annoying. For my thing with her, like I wouldn't say that she's like a example of what's wrong with the app necessarily. That's a very complicated conversation to have about like two young people who are in a relationship that don't understand boundaries, because she definitely violated him, but I don't think it was an active "I'm going to rape you" violation. I think it was like an "I don't understand boundaries," and I don't think any of those young people understood boundaries because none of them stopped it or thought it was wrong for a very long time. And I still think that's what she did was wrong.
Mhm.
But people just like didn't understand, I guess.
Yeah.
They're
I mean,
young. They're
yeah.
young and they don't get it. And I'm not trying to diminish what she did, but like that's my perspective more on it than she's like this active terrible person. Because that's another thing I've noticed on TikTok is that there are bad people on TikTok, but we have really weird conversations about it that aren't really rooted in reality, specifically on the internet. Like there's a lot of the nuance of like predatory interactions are kind of, they just don't exist, and they're hard to talk about because people will cancel you if you don't say what people want to hear.
Mhm.
Like I don't, not to get into it, but like Tony Lopez, a 20-year-old talking to a 16 or 16-year-old, 16, 17, 18.
And
That
he got away with it, right? Like
well,
people forgive him, right?
well, kind of. He was gross. It's gross to do that, but it's not something I would consider like pedophilic. It's inappropriate, and that's the thing where like if it was my kid, I would hit him and tell him to stop, and if he stopped, I would be like, okay, fine.
So
Uh,
wait, what was the situation with him? He was 20 and talking to a
he was
16-year-old?
20 and he was like sexting like 16-year-olds and 16 plus,
That's borderline, bro. That's
which
extremely
is
borderline.
gross, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
It's one of those things where if you look at it from a real world perspective, the age of consent in his state is 16, and in
yeah.
every state that there's a 4-year age gap where like it's like Romeo and Juliet, and people always say California doesn't have one, but California has the worst. It's like a 10-year age gap. People don't know that. It's up to the judge's discretion when like within a 10-year age range of whether it's predatory or not. And so, like, I'm not saying that it's correct. What I'm saying is that I think you'd usually give people the benefit of the doubt that they wouldn't engage in this stuff if it was illegal. So Tony
Yeah.
Lopez, gross, but it's one of those things where it's like, well, what's the punishment? The punishment to me is that he needs to take accountability, apologize, and stop the behavior, which just seems to be exactly what he did. But you get very caught up in it, and you see a lot of adults saying that this guy is like the worst thing in the world because a lot of kids think that he's the worst person in the world, and people are kind of grabbing that message and they're saying whatever their audience wants to hear. So you have a lot of adults pandering to young people, saying what they want to hear, rather than like taking their adult perspective and applying it to the situation. And that's like one of the problems I have with TikTok.
No, well, my biggest issue with TikTok is like going back to okay, regardless of whatever she did, the CNMA girl, and even Charlie D'Amelio, and you kind of made the point of who is watching these people: Addison Rae, CNMA, Charlie D'Amelio. Nobody. I don't think anybody's like, man, I can't wait to see the new fucking Charlie video. I don't think anybody's watching them. I think this is the stuff TikTok pushes, whether like on purpose or that's just the way their algorithm works. Bell Porch, even like we all know they basically do nothing, right? And I mean,
I
I'm
agree
sorry to
with you.
say it, I don't blame them. That
No,
I would.
I don't either. I would do it too. No, I think that there's a mixture of different things. Like, so one thing I think that people should acknowledge that there's only so much view time to be shared. So there's everybody, average I think is about 52 minutes a day each person will watch. And so there's only so many people and only so many videos can get pushed onto the page. And so there's also content that doesn't need to be what you would consider the best content for you to view in order for you to view it. So like it doesn't matter. So somebody might get shown Addison Rae and they may not love it, but they might be like, okay, I'll watch the full thing. And I think that they do have an algorithm that promotes like music and dancing and attractive people first. So you're getting basically brain dead, mind numbing bullshit put into your eyes, but you're consuming it. And people, that's the way that I think it works. It's a bunch of different things. So people see like Charlie Miller, like, all right, I'll watch this, and they'll watch it fully through it. And that's why, between the algorithm and the fact that you'll just consume, a lot of times people will just consume whatever, even if it's mediocre, just because they're bored.
Yeah,
that's why they're so high up there. And they're safe. It's safe to show Addison Rae because she's not controversial.
You know what? I never thought about it like that. Well, I think okay, like Addison Rae shouldn't be controversial, but like I think Charlie D'Amelio should because he's not fucking 18. So like,
oh well, okay, I was about to say, yeah, it's really gross because originally, from what I saw of Charlie, and I didn't consume very much, She seemed to just do dances, nothing sexualized.
Yeah, nothing sexual. Yeah, but it became that.
It's because it's becoming. Yeah, I've been seeing a little bit more and more, and it's really uncomfortable. And she's 17 now, but it's still really weird, and like it's very uncomfortable. I feel worse for her though, because I feel like she's like being the TikTok is becoming her landscape, and she's getting sucked into it.
And her fucking dad is like supporting this weirdness, you know, like kind of like exploiting her.
Yeah, you know, I because I haven't kept up with her as of recently because she's become very private. It seemed like it was just like a family of people who got famous on TikTok, and they were pretty good. Yeah. But now we're adding in like the introduction of like sexualization to Charlie's content, and I don't know. Like as a father, I would never let her make it, but I wonder if her dad's even consuming it, or if he really cares, or I don't really know the dynamic. I wouldn't say he's a dishonest guy. I just think that like the internet. It has a massive impact on people, especially when you have some level of fame, which she has a high level of fame, and she's going in a direction that like she shouldn't be going in, but it's hard to keep up with what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, it's just like that whole family's just horny to be famous. That's what I get from their dad, you know. It's just like,
I think the dad's a politician, like he tried to run for governor or something of California or something like that, or New York.
Fucked in the head, man. Like it's like attention, you know, like a lot of people want to run for office to like get attention and, you know, power or whatever, and I think like it's like, well, I couldn't be a politician, let me get some kind of fame by like showing off my daughters. It's a weird concept.
It's possible. I don't know exactly how it happened. Like they have money, and I think that they have money, and like he was probably genuinely running for office. I think he was a small business owner or something. And his daughter is just the perfect mediocre attractive girl. Like she's traditionally attractive. I'm just want to make it clear. I don't find her attractive, but she's traditionally attractive, or whatever you'd call it, you know, whatever. And she's also kind of like frumpy. So, and she's really boring and like honestly not particularly. There's not a lot of personality going on, and so I always compare her to the main character of Twilight. I think it's Bella or whatever, where she was written in a way for young girls to insert themselves into the character. She's very plain and she's relatable, so the young girl can go like, oh, I like that. She's pretty, but she's not like amazingly pretty. So like they go like, I could be that, and she doesn't have a lot going on personality wise, so they insert themselves into her, and that's what happens. I think what happens is they look at Charli D'Amelio and they go, I can do that, and then you have a bunch of young girls trying to be Charli D'Amelio, and that's what's keeping her fame going. And then of course young boys are probably attracted to her as well, but I think it's mostly young girls that are like, they want to be like her. And that's another toxic part people don't talk about, because now the dream job like 20 years ago or even more, it seemed to be jobs that were difficult. Now dream jobs are to just somehow get famous on Instagram, on YouTube, doing nothing and just like making a bunch of money, and you're like completely lazy nobody.
Yeah, dude, that's like the number one. You know, when they ask kids what they want to be when they grow up, like it used to be back in my day. I mean, we're older.
Yeah.
Fucking fireman.
Yes. I was gonna say that.
By a lot is YouTuber. By a lot, by like an astonishing amount. I think it's like 60-something%.
That's when I was like I'm 31 now. When I was young, it was a fireman or a musician, or like a police officer or something, or a Jedi. Yeah, right. Practical things that you could be. Exactly, but they were jobs that were like, you didn't know how hard they were because you're a dumb kid, but like you knew that they were not like easy jobs. But now it's like, I want to be a YouTuber because I want to be famous and I don't want to work a lot. Right. And it's a really toxic thing. I think it's going to have a very negative impact on young people, because a lot of young people seem to be going for jobs that are drastically unlikely that they'll get into, and then they're going to fail emphatically because there's probably like a 100% of people can be famous, or probably less, and so they're going to be famous, but like while they're doing that, they're working at like a bullshit job, and like they're not going to go anywhere, and then you're not seeing young people go for jobs. Like my thing is like, I never plan on being like in social media, so I was cleaning buses and I was making decent money, and I was working up through that company, and like right now if I stayed there, I'd probably be making like a decent wage, like 70,000 plus a year, not too bad. But like this happened, so I went for it, and if it doesn't work out, I can go back there, and then I have other options in like other jobs. I have backups, and I think that people should chase their dreams, but you should have a backup. That's the best way to go.
dreams, but and I'm sorry for everyone listening. You need to give up when you fucking
Be realistic.
not working out, bro. Like I'm I went to school for software development, and I was gonna go for history because I really like history.
Mhm.
My dad basically told me like, no, you're not doing that shit. What the fuck? Like, we didn't come to this country for you to become a history major working at Starbucks, you know?
It's unfortunate. Yeah, it's a very saturated field, history. Yeah.
We gotta accept these things, bro. Like I'm extremely lucky that I even have like the small following I do, but I was always prepared, like I was never expecting this to be like a possible career one day. I was just like, if it works out, it works out. If not, I'll fucking, work a soul crushing corporate job for the rest of my life and die of alcoholism.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, I honestly have no real issue with working like a real job. I part of me misses some of it. Doesn't really bother me, but I'm very fortunate that I'm like able to make a legitimate living. I make most of my money on YouTube. I make a decent amount on Twitch. I was making a decent amount on TikTok before that was taken away. And it's that part sucks, but hopefully I can slowly get it back and make a little bit. Like a couple $100 a month that would be, hey, fuck it, I don't care, I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, that brings me to my next point. So TikTok used to be like, when you came up, when the way I came up on TikTok, right? I wouldn't have like my YouTube following or anything if it wasn't for TikTok, because I posted one stupid video that went viral for no reason.
Right.
Do you think that era is over?
Of what? Getting viral on TikTok? Like nobody's getting famous on TikTok?
Well, not in the way it was, right? Because now you have to post only the content TikTok wants you to post. Like, that's the way I feel it's going.
Yeah, no, I think that it's still there, that you can get famous off of TikTok, but it's not there the way that it used to be for a ton of different reasons. And one of them is what you said. TikTok very clearly has a bias towards dancing and music and songs. That's what their very heavy bias is towards, like brain dead content that they know is palatable, that they know is going to make them money because it's not going to be controversial. I do still think that there are spaces for people to have unique content grow on TikTok. I don't think it's nearly there. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One of the biggest reasons that I blew up was part of it was because it was over the summer during everything going on with the riots. There was the coronavirus and the riots. People were home. They were consuming TikTok at like double the rate. So content that usually wouldn't be seen as like great got put on the For You page, because after you get through the good content, or like the safe content you know is going to hit, you're going to start throwing in unsafe content. So then like I was able to kind of blow up because of that. That's obviously going away. People are using TikTok less. I think people are caring less about TikTok because this issue of mass reportings and bans is happening across all the hemispheres of TikTok. My girlfriend's on a very different TikTok. It's like she's on like dog TikTok, and there are people on dog TikTok complaining about getting banned.
Well, so that's... Wait, what the fuck was my question? Oh, okay. You're friends with Curly Daddy, right?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. So I saw a video he put a few days ago where he's basically saying, if TikTok keeps banning people like without any transparency, the people who actually make good content, the people who made TikTok go from being the most cringe shit ever to being funny, they're all gonna leave now because they're not able to make the content they want to make anymore.
Absolutely. It's a really unfortunate thing. It's a very, because he's 100% true. I remember I talked about that on my stream the other day. It's one of those things where for various reasons, content creators are not feeling like TikTok is a safe a place to make their content. And it's a really bad scenario because you have a lot of content creators who don't, not that they wouldn't do well on YouTube, but YouTube is much more difficult to do well on. It takes you longer to flesh yourself out. Because YouTube, you have to actually have like content. TikTok isn't really content. Like 5 seconds, you know what I'm saying? It's not exactly the hardest thing. You can just, for instance, like commentary. You have like a lot of dumb commentators because they don't have to have in-depth perspectives, because you're only encouraged to make you can make 3-minute videos, but nobody's going to usually watch. So you're encouraged to make 5 or 10-second hits. So like you don't have to be particularly intelligent to do commentary. Whereas on YouTube, you do need to be more intelligent. And it's one of those things where like TikTok helps platform people in that way, but then also I'm like going on a tangent. I forgot what I was talking about. TikTok helps like platform those type of people, but then they're being pushed away from the app, and like you're seeing less money being made, and like you're getting pushed out, and you're getting banned and mass reported and whatnot. So it's creating a space that's not comfortable for people, and it's making people lose faith in the particular in TikTok, and they're not going to want to utilize it, and which is why you're seeing more and more brain dead content.
Right. Well, because to me, what I feel is happening is, like the YouTube apocalypse.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah,
I feel like this is happening now because before, like, dude, you had like Filthy Frank and H3's edgy shit and John Tron, all that shit. Like the golden age, and then the apocalypse ruined everything, and now we got these basic asses. Just like every commentator talks about the same shit, and it's just kind of like
it's all a form of drama now on YouTube. Yeah, I know exactly. Like even the politics on there, it's all drama. Everything is some kind of drama take. There's not a lot of comedy channels, and if there are, they're just dumb fucking rich white kids.
Exactly. And they're not allowed to be funny, like in the way they were, like Filthy Frank. And
well, I didn't really consume TikTok or YouTube when it was like at its prime, so I can't say that it's the way that it is. I think though, like YouTube went ballistic, and I understand why, because they had like the Alabama N-word song and like a Burger King ad was on it, so I understand why they went ballistic. So at least they have a reason, because I haven't seen TikTok have a valid reason of doing what they're doing. And then they got really tight, and then they slowly loosened up. And I think that, like, because I've been on YouTube for a while, so they've actually maybe like 2 or 3, maybe a month ago, they mentioned they're like making it easier to get monetized on the platform. So like they're slowly trying to hit like a point of, it's like, okay, let's see how much we could push it. So I don't know specifically Filthy Frank's content. I know it's like, I don't know if it, but it possibly, stuff like that could possibly actually work on YouTube again. It's just, I think that people are so afraid of it that they don't go for it.
I mean, I don't know if YouTube is making like baby steps back to where they used to be, but I posted like a video of John McAfee. I didn't even post it because they limited the monetization of it.
Did you put a review in for it?
No, because it was too late by that point. It's like it became irrelevant.
I get what you're saying. Oh, so that happens. Well, see, there's a couple of things there. It's like one thing. What I will say is that, yeah, YouTube pulls the monetization down on videos, but they don't they rarely restrict the video from being shown. And I think that shows a lot. Like, yeah, you might make because I have it every once in a while. Like when I was talking about Joe Robe, a lot of that wasn't monetized, even though those were big videos for me, because I'm talking about a predator, or an alleged predator. But like I still post it. Like they didn't restrict them. They very rarely age restrict my videos. So to me, that shows that, like, okay, they're still willing to put it out there. They just don't. They just like, okay, like people, like advertisers don't want to use it.
People that complain about YouTube, man, they don't know shit about TikTok.
TikTok's much worse. They just pull your video down. They don't care. And part of it's because you really can't get pulled out of the monetization stream, because people get them on their For You page. So you're just watching it an ad, then you get whatever bullshit. But it's bad.
People say on YouTube, like, if your video gets demonetized, that it's suppressed. Like even Philip DeFranco says that, right? If it's like he's covering a video on a certain topic, like he'll have a disclaimer that says like, yeah, please share and comment, like get engagement on this, because YouTube's gonna suppress it, And if they're doing it to somebody big like that, imagine what they can do to us.
It's possible. It's possible. And all I can talk about is my personal experience. I've seen like the opposite almost. My demonetized videos do better than any of the other videos that I have. Usually because that's also kind of what I grew on, was like content that was like a touchy subject. So my demonetized content is mostly talking about predators, and like that's where I get most of my views from. So like most of my bigger videos are completely demonetized. Like my biggest videos, I have like 350,000 with like the Gemini situation. All those videos are demonetized. So it's possible. But it's also possible that they just are making shitty content, and it's like it just happens to get demonetized or something,
Okay, that's good to know, because I've always been like scared of like not talking about certain topics.
Yeah,
people like they'll say SA instead of sexual assault.
Yeah, no, you know what? I think that part of it is that people know when they're being controversial, and a lot of people want to be monetized. So when they're talking about touchy topics, they try to talk about it in a non-touchy way. So they'll say like sexual assault instead of, or not even a sexual assault, they'll say SA, and
So, yeah.
like a pattern of constantly like not using the correct language, I think hurts the video and people don't care as much. And so like I'm at a point now where I don't even censor my videos anymore. I just say whatever I feel needs to be said. Sometimes I'll drag the beginning out for like 30 seconds a little bit just so that I can try to get it demonetized. But then after that, I just use the language that needs to be used in the video, because I think that it's just like you're better off having like a genuine video than anything else. But there's a couple of small things, like as long as you don't have any curses in the first 30 seconds, like you have a higher chance of not getting demonetized, stuff like that.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, I even try to like limit it as much as possible because I don't know if this is just me being extremely careful, but I feel like they count, bro. Like they have an algorithm that just counts. Like, okay, here's the rate of curses per minute, right? And then it's like the more you have, the more, because like I work in this field, so like
Right, yeah.
so it's like I'm just I think that makes me more paranoid about like what an algorithm can do because I know what it can do.
Yeah, I get that. I honestly would just try to just make your genuine content and just like just hope for the best. Because like if people like your content, make your content, and then use TikTok to plug your content. That's probably your best bet more than anything else. That's what TikTok is.
It's unfortunate that now I'm pretty much only going to be using it for that, and because I used to try to make a video every day. It's like if I make one more that gets taken down, I'm fucked. I can't.
No, right. Well, it's unfortunate because like I'm gearing my content toward, like I made a new account and I'm gearing that content towards YouTube. I take a YouTube thumbnail and I just do short-term commentary on it, and it's a plug. And it's similar to the old content that I've done, but it's mostly to get you to watch my YouTube. And then for people who won't do it, it gives them like a short-term story of it. But like I'm obviously not making particularly unique content anymore. Like I don't make the jokes as much anymore because those can be slammed. I like that's what got me like banned. When I got banned on my main account, I had 30 videos instantly flagged right when they changed everything, and they got pulled down. That's what got me like the permanent ban. I never got like I had a 1 week post ban in April last year, so, or not April, May, June, July. It's like August last year. That's it. I've never had like a day post ban, anything. It went from 0 to 60 instantly. I very rarely had videos pulled down. And yeah, so like I don't even make the jokes anymore because I would make like jokes that were just stupid. Like I think I made a joke. You know what Tess Holiday is? She's a body positivity model. So she's a very overweight model.
Is that Canadian bitch?
I think so. She's like 300 or 400 pounds, I think. And,
okay, I know who you're talking about. She was on the cover of some magazine.
Yeah, and she was pole dancing, and all I said was that pole is stronger than James Charles's love for children. And
I remember that.
Yeah, that got pulled down. Those videos were big. Like I'd make like a silly joke about like some fat girl was like, something about how just because I'm fat doesn't mean that I'm less of a person. And I was like, yeah, you're more of a person. You know what I mean? And those are videos that they get pulled down because they're slightly edgy, and it's really unfortunate because I think it's gonna be boring. It's gonna kill the app.
Exactly, man. Apocalypse. Telling
you. It's gonna kill.
It's over, man. I'm announcing it here. The age of TikTok is over.
TikTok, I don't think is an app that's gonna die anytime soon. I think TikTok is on its like slow decline maintenance mode, where they're just harvesting the money out of it, and they're playing everything really safe, rather than making honest content. Which is again, that's actually what smaller. We were just talking about before. Like you said, Flip DeFranco. He was like, "Oh, my video." When those people try to censor their language, you're doing the same thing just to try to make money. That's TikTok is doing. You're censoring yourself to make money. TikTok is doing it. I think that the genuinity is just kind of dying. Like, maybe you lose some money, but long term, TikTok's going to be like a powerful force. And rather than figure out how to keep edgy content on the platform, they're just removing it. Like, there's probably a way to demonetize edgy content and still keep it on the platform.
Right.
Like create. I don't know, maybe possibly shadow ban it, or not even shadow ban it. Do what YouTube does. Is that they have tiers of demonetization. So I've had demonetized videos that make me a lot of money because they'll play. Some advertisers are okay with edgy content, like Donald Trump particularly during the election. He didn't give a fuck. So it doesn't matter what you talked about. So if they figured out a way to just signal edgy content to people who like edgy content, that would be good. But like that's one of the problems. One of the best and worst parts of TikTok is that everybody can see all your content, which means that like normal spheres are getting broken, and then they're seeing like you'll see fucking you'll see some like politically correct asshole feminists see like Nick Foster's videos, like the complete opposite, which ends up having it has a positive impact of expanding the reach and a negative impact of people getting riled up because they're not just seeing what's in their echo chamber.
Well, I think like the reason I've been, getting so many videos taken down recently is just because I don't really have a niche. Like I make tier lists, but they're about anything, dude. Like I made one about fucking fish.
Right.
So it's like people who like fish are gonna see that video and they're gonna be like, oh, okay. But then somebody who doesn't like fish might get pissed off and
Right.
report for no reason.
You know what it is? Or no, you know what you could. It's one of those things where if you want to be a successful content creator, you have to just like suck it up. Which sucks. It's kind of bullshit, and that's what I'm currently doing. I'm like sucking it up pretty hard. So it's one of those things where sometimes you can only plug what you have to like be like, okay, apparently white rappers is too much for TikTok, so you can't plug best white rappers. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to find your socially palatable content, and which again, it's stupid and it's just dumb. But you can either exist in the bullshit system or unfortunately fade away. And that's why I've been trying to just figure out what I can post without it getting pulled down. Like I can't talk about a lot of issues.
I mean, the thing that sucks is you got to post. Like TikTok is one of those platforms. Like you got to post every day. That helps you get more views if you post every day. But every time I post, bro, it's like playing Russian roulette. Like I don't know what's edgy to certain people. I know
Oh
like
yeah.
my line. I don't know what other people's lines is. So every time I post one, and for me, it's like bad to post more because every time I do, it's like increases my chances of now getting permanently banned.
Yeah,
So it's
I wouldn't doubt if TikTok had some kind of merit system where once you're into like a ban, you're on some kind of like private, like special list of like you're getting more sensitive. I personally would consider not getting rid of your account, but creating a new account and slow building it with a particular message. If you want to push YouTube content, you might want to consider making a TikTok that's just for your YouTube content and not trying to grow it for like 2 weeks. That's what I did. I have an account that I didn't want anybody to see. It's been up for like 2 weeks and now has 12,000 followers, which isn't a lot because I haven't shouted it out. I made it so that my content could go on it and like establish that like I can post content and like I don't have any strikes, thankfully, right now. Hopefully I never do. And so you might be better off doing that and then eventually shouting that video out with your old other account. And it sounds terrible because like you're gonna basically have a smaller account, which sucks because the mentality is like, well, it's less people following, less impact, which is partially true. But if you build a solid following that likes your content, the fewer like people that view it could be more impactful. So I had I had 2.4 million followers. But like I could probably have an account with 500K with the same amount of reach or actual like practical reach or like useful reach where it's like those people want to see what I'm posting on my YouTube. Whereas the 2.5 million, a lot of people just followed me because I had 3 or 2 big huge videos that got like 30 million views from twerking, and those people aren't going to give a fuck about social commentary. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's like a big issue with going viral from one video to like, especially on YouTube. This is a not necessarily a good thing because people will expect all your content to be similar to that one video, right? So if you get too many people at once, like for me, dude, I kind of got stuck in doing tier lists and nothing else was really popping off for a while. Eventually, other types of content were, but like if I put anything besides a tier list on TikTok, people will be like, "What the fuck is this, man?
Yeah,
what is this?"
It's toxic. We have to ignore that because I know exactly what you're saying. I recently just started putting out a lot more YouTube content, and I'm not caring if people like it. And that's been really positive for me because like I got my biggest content is like it's like content going after like predators, but I also think that like people wanted me to go after Tony Lopez the way I went after Gemini. And when you compare them, they're objectively different. Tony Lopez, gross, 20 years old, talking to 16-year-olds. That's gross. Gemini raped a girl, 15 when he was 9. When he was 19, he had sex with a 15-year-old.
The corny alert guy?
Who?
The corny alert guy?
No. That's Freak the Gemini. Gemini official is
okay.
somebody that you guys probably haven't seen. But he raped a girl at a TikTok party. He registered himself as a minor on the app Yubo to talk to other minors. He got kicked out of his school for sexual battery. He would break into the dorms just to like wait for the girls to come home. He's like a bad person. And like people wanted me to talk about Tony Lopez in that way, but it's impossible
Right.
because one is a dumb asshole gross kid and one is a legitimate like predator. And I
There's
and
there's a
they
difference between like being weird or like gross and being evil, you
yeah,
know?
there's an intention aspect. Like
Yeah.
if you the like there's one thing to not understand boundaries. There's another thing to know boundaries and intentionally cross them. And like to me, if I just kept talking about predators, I probably could have been huge. But then I'm also going to take people who aren't as predatory, and I'm going to have to embellish the story. And I just don't want to do that because I take it very seriously when we talk about predatory engagements.
Yeah. And
That's it.
it's not as horrible when you're like, yeah, I mean it's still gross and shit, but like when you're young, you know, when you're like 20, if
Mhm.
you're, you know, my age, I'm like 27, 28. I want to keep it a mystery, but
Right,
dude,
right.
if you're my age talking to fucking like even 18-year-olds, man, it's 17.
Yeah, no, I
It's
find that like bizarre talking to like 18-year-olds is like I'm a 31-year-old.
no, even if you're like 26, 25, like what the fuck are you,
I know,
what are you,
I know what you mean. Like the 20-year-olds, you can give them a pass because like they don't know any
yeah,
better. But like the 25-year-old, yeah, you're not so much. The 30-year-old, absolutely not. Like EDP was trying to talk to a 13-year-old
yeah,
like when he was
it's
30.
disgusting, bro. Dude, but
Yeah.
when you're 20, like it's not, you're specifically going after, you know, a 17, 16-year-old. You're just, you want to bang anything,
Well, that's
you
what
know?
it is. It's like, yeah, no, it's one of those things where like it's not that you're intentionally trying to go after a
Yeah,
16-year-old. It's like because with Tony Lopez, people talk about how he was talking to a 16-year-old, but like he was just talking to any girl that was 16 and up that would talk to him. So
right. I
he's
mean,
like a
that's
fucking
definitely not an
douchebag.
excuse. That's definitely not an excuse when you're like 25.
No, but like for
But
him, it's like he's
yeah,
just a stupid asshole, gross kid that needs to be hit by his parents. Like
yes,
that's the way I look at it. And he stopped, so like that's fine. What sucks though is no one's talking about his brother, who's 23 and allegedly fucked a 14-year-old, and like no one's talking about it. Yeah, no, and because Tony Lopez is so hot topic, like we hate Tony, that we don't care about Andre. So to Andre, this is all allegations, but they're fairly credible because his girlfriend left him and he disappeared for like a month or two. He was at a TikTok party at his hype house where apparently there was drinking involved, and he had sex with a 14-year-old when he was 23. Now, there's a lot there. Like, for instance, they didn't ID her coming into the party, so maybe he didn't know she wasn't 18. I don't know how you wouldn't because 14-year-olds usually look like 14-year-olds.
yeah,
But like, no,
yeah,
we're not investigating the nuance of this conversation. It's easier to say Tony Lopez is bad and ignore his brother because people know Tony and they know that they can like virtue signal over what he did rather than talk about like real issues. And so like we don't talk about Andre Lopez because nobody gives a fuck, you know?
yeah. That's like a micro level of you know, what goes on in the government, right? Like Bill Clinton got sucked off, so we ignored the war in Bosnia and shit, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. No, that's exactly what it is. That's pretty much what's happening. That's the unfortunate reality. And but part of it too is it's hard to talk about these
Yeah.
people because like TikTok also gets rid of anything talking about like predatory or
Mhm.
pedophilic behavior. It's
Even when it's like talking out against it.
yeah, yeah, you don't know. They're very adamant. It seems like they're more adamant talking when it's talking about against. It's okay. Like you'll see a 15-year-old twerk when like booty shorts. That's okay. But like if you're saying that like this guy is a bad person, they'll suppress the fuck out of it. And they'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're harassing or bullying them." And it's like, "What are you talking
Yeah.
about?"
Yeah, dude, bro, I got it. It's just, man, the rules just make no sense, man. I'm gonna keep coming back to this because I'm telling you, there's just one fucking guy who's sitting at a computer deciding all this stuff. Because I got videos taken down for making fun of cartoon characters, bro.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't quite understand. I really would just say that it really centralizes around what's they feel is going to make them the most money, and they're going
Yeah.
to play it safe and say go fuck yourself. And I think
What,
now that you're
who's
probably on a list
yeah, yeah.
I think you're on a list now. If it's like if it's on the line, they're just gonna not take you. They're not gonna give you the benefit of the doubt now because you've been just shit on.
Let me tell you what my video I was talking about my white rappers video. You know what it got taken down for? Like what the reason was?
What's that?
You would think like okay, maybe harassment and bullying. No, illegal activities.
Yeah, no, they have really terrible. I put my foot up on TikTok once, and they pulled it down for like
Is this
bullying.
illegal? What is
Yeah,
this fucking Pakistan, bro?
you know they just it's. I think a lot of it's just an automated thing. But what they've changed a lot. Like back in the day, when you would have a video pulled down, you would be able to appeal it with a description.
Yes, and yeah,
And
yeah,
I would
yeah.
always be really, I would always be like, hey, this is this, or I would be really rude to the people sometimes because I'd be like, are
Mhm.
you fucking kidding me right now? Like I'm getting mass reported, like this is enough, and they
Dude,
would actually listen to me and they would stop fucking with me.
Dude,
Now,
same. I was pissed when they got rid of that.
yeah, it's now they don't give a fuck. You can't even like say anything specific, and it's unfortunate. And I think that TikTok, I don't know, because I feel like one of the reasons why I'm banned is, and they don't listen, they won't like respond to me, is because a few months ago I had an account at 600K and I got banned for showing that like Zoe Laverne girl kissed a 13-year-old, and they permanently banned me. And I told them, I said really bad things to them. I told them that they were like wastes of space and they're working for like a horrible company, and I said like pretty fucked up shit. And I feel like they've never let that go because I think the community manager blocked me after that.
Right. That makes sense. Dude, I don't know, man. With you, like, I mean, you've definitely posted like a lot of videos that I disagreed with.
Oh, a lot of people have said that. And honestly, a lot of them I don't think that I agree with.
Yeah.
There was a very bizarre performative path on TikTok that I wasn't doing intentionally, and like some of the videos were just not like the takes that I liked. I was very wrapped up in it.
Dude, 'cause, I mean, even I mean, you remember we had that little interaction where I was like kind of clowning on some of your videos.
I just remember, I remember like we were gonna fight me or something. Yeah, it was whatever.
No, I didn't. People said I wanted to fight you. I didn't.
I thought that was like the TikTokers like a beat up tier list or something. That's the one.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. And I was laughing. I saw that. That was somewhat recently.
Yeah, like maybe a month ago. But yeah, dude. But I never thought like, man, this guy needs to get shut down. Like, you know?
No, I know what you mean. I think that there's a lot of it centralizes around. I made a joke about Andre Lopez that got me really fucked up. Like that's what killed me. It was the old enough to bleed, old enough to breed video. That video, and like I was like, thank you very much, Andre Lopez. I was trying to call that out, but some people didn't like me and they cut that part out. Some people just didn't know who Andre Lopez was. Some people couldn't hear it. So like that publicly deplatformed me, and it fucked me up. It's weird to say, but like I guess it had like an impact on my mental health, which is weird to say because I hate saying that stuff. I think that sounds like so childish, but it's true. And like I started making worse content. I was very angry. I stopped caring about people, like giving a shit about people. My commentary got pulled like it just went all ballistic. I just started saying shit. I didn't care anymore.
You went full Joker.
All right, well, yeah, that was my Joker arc. Yeah. That was my Joker arc. I actually made a Joker video on that point too.
With the makeup on and shit.
Yeah, I found a filter on, and that was my like Joker arc, and that's why I think it was good that I got banned, because once I got banned, my content has been able to like become decent, I think.
Right.
So, you know, for me, I'm looking at the silver lining of getting banned on TikTok. It sucks that I lost like several thousands of dollars in the creator fund, but like that's life, you know.
I mean, dude, if your mental health wasn't impacted by that, you know, because I remember you had a few tweets where you were like kind of sad about it, you know, upset. Which like
tweets or the tweets or the maybe
because you were banned. You were banned.
Like, oh yeah, the banned tweets. Yeah, I was pretty fucked up about that. That actually, I got banned. I was upset, and then I actually started to have I had like a positive arc. What it was is I was banned. I was pissed about the money, and I was pissed ego wise that I would get banned. What I felt was unjustifiable because it was instant, and they pulled videos down that they always thought were fine. But then like that was leveraged with like feeling good about being free. Right. Because I, on my main account, always had like this weird expectation to succeed, and if I made a video that didn't hit, I felt like I shouldn't have made it, and that fucks you up. And that's one of the things I'm happy about with my new account. I don't care anymore, but I'm also not shit posting. I'm just plugging my shit and like commenting every so often. I'm very comfortable with that, and like I have some videos that are already over 100K, or like I'm just, you know. And
I was very upset like when my views just dropped suddenly, you know. But
you never know why, man. Like honestly, it could be. There were when I was making my content, I was getting like there was a period on TikTok where I was getting like probably an average of like 600,000 views a video. And it was because I was in it all the time. I'm like, I'm doing well. I was confident. I was in it. My content was speaking really well. Once I got like canceled, to me, a lot of cancellation is how you feel about being canceled rather than the actual impact of getting canceled. And I just shifted. I was like sad. I was frustrated. I was upset. I couldn't make the content that was like. Anyway, I had no confidence.
Yeah, I mean, people can kind of like subconsciously tell, because I've noticed like if I'm in a shitty mood and I make a video, it kind of comes across a little bit. You know, in the content. But wait, I want to talk about your "old enough to bleed, old enough to breed" comment, because I never saw the original video. All I saw was this motherfucker, this guy. I think you have beef with him. Some looks kind of like a schlubby looking male feminist looking guy. Doesn't have a lot of followers. All he does is like talk about how happy he was when you were banned, you know.
Oh, who's that? I'm curious because I felt
I
like
don't remember, dude.
I feel like I didn't see enough hate when I got banned. I was actually disappointed. I'm like, I got banned and nobody seemed to care. I wanted to see like all the happiness, but nobody seemed to be happy about it.
Well, this was just one guy, and he didn't have like a lot of followers. But
Or was he a
somebody,
little chubby and blonde?
I think he was blonde. Yeah, like
Yeah, I
very.
think I know what you're talking about. I think I think he made a video or something, and then I did like a. I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. He
He
was.
posted that clip of you saying that but without anything else, you know.
Oh wait, are you talking about Creator Court?
Yes, credit
Okay,
court.
okay.
That's
Now I
what
know.
it-
Yeah,
And
yeah. He came on my stream and I talked to him about that whole situation.
really,
Yeah, we had like a
because
conversation.
I don't know, like people don't have any like critical thinking skills. Because I could tell right away, like that was a joke. Like it was a.
Yeah, like I know what you like. You know, my thing was at its worst. It was like a really like bad joke. I've come to accept though that like if someone else made that joke, it would have probably been fine. There's a mixture of me being an adult and people hating me, and then also my content being very heavily focused on deplatforming predators. That I think made it so it's like, okay, like if you're a kid making a joke about pedophilia, like that's gross, but you're a dumb kid. But I'm an adult that platformed myself off of trying to call out predatory behavior. And so I think people looked at it like they have a higher expectation of what my content should be. And so like I'm frustrated because I think that some people intentionally took it out of context so they didn't like me. But then I'm also trying to focus more on my accountability of what I did wrong because that's the only part I can control. You know what I'm saying? And I focus more on what I can control to like shift it. And like I was when the Joe Rope situation happened, I think that what it's horrible to say, but I think that was positive for me, as disgusting as it was, because I got a lot of people reach out to me and said, I am surprised you talked about this. Thank you very much because I went through it in detail. Because of that joke you made. And I've responded to all of them and I explained the joke and they're like, oh, okay, I understand now.
Right.
And so I
You
think
talking about somebody else?
yeah, like a lot of people, yeah, they understand because like I made the joke about like the pedophilic joke and
Yeah.
then I deplatformed a pedophile. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like that's the and
But
people
you weren't saying that as if that's your opinion. You were saying it is like
Andre
some.
Lopez's opinion. That well, the
Yes.
thing is, I think that a lot of people didn't hear it whether it was intentionally removed from the video because some people that didn't like me did that, or they just couldn't hear it over like the cheering of whatever filter it used because it was like a weird filter. So you know, it just is what it is the way I look at it now. I'm happy to be able to rebuild, and I'm very happy with my content on YouTube, and I'm happy in the way I'm rebuilding. So I'm looking at it as like a positive. It was a TED Talk filter. Yeah.
No, that's good, man. Well, I actually have to go back to work, so thank you for the.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right, bro.
Take care. It was nice talking to you.
Yes, man. You too. Thanks. See ya.
Peace.